This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Welcome back to the show. We are honored to have Melanie Murphy joining us again. If you missed our past conversations, well, you better tune in and check them out because she's the owner and sensei of Way of the Crane and creator and owner of Streetwise Self-Defense based out of Boulder, Colorado. For so many years, she's been helping children to adults. And, you know, it doesn't matter what age you are. Everyone has a right to self-protection. And really, she has taught us a lot about the benefits of having this type of training to help you live in a less, state of fear, right? And live in peace. So thank you for being here again. How are you doing?
I'm well. How about yourself?
I'm great, sweetheart. So pleasure to have you back. And I know you're a
Thank
survivor, and I love that you've helped so many people all your years. Could you just share just a little bit of what you do?
I am the owner and sensei of a full martial arts school. You can spend 10 months, 10 minutes, or 20 years here. And I have also developed something called Streetwise, which is a very short kind of cream off the top techniques that everybody finds for themselves. So in Streetwise, I don't want you bogged down with choreography or complicated things. I want you to reach a conclusion to act. It's called Kime. Kime is instant decision making, intense, intuitive action with no delay and no doubt.
Wow.
Okay, so if you can develop Kime, and one of the only ways to do that in the area of self-defense is to know what you're doing and having done it and practiced it. So you don't want to do something you've never done before in a moment and an emergency, a personal terrorist attack.
Yeah.
That you've never done before. So Oprah would say something like, oh, kick him in the balls. And I'm like, I don't know if I can say that on television.
Yeah, of course you can. Absolutely.
Okay. All you're going to do when you kick an already violent and angry man in the groin is make him more angry and more violent. Okay. If that is ever a target, your thinking needs to be shattering the pelvis, not dealing with the decorations. It's like right through everything and right into the main support system. If you don't know how to do that and you do it halfway, you're just going to make the fight worse. Too many predators have said, she tried, she did, and I went ballistic. I went nuts. Years ago, we had a woman who was working in an gas station kind of convenient thing, and she was taken, and thank God she survived, but she was stabbed 17 times, and the predator said she kicked me in the balls, and that's what made him mad. Vandersloot, right? Jordan Vandersloot said the same thing about Natalie Holloway. It's why he killed her. So I know we have been told something as females to go for a very vulnerable place, but that's not the correct target to stop somebody. Good guys drop. They're not happy, but they drop.
Yeah. And
they control that pain and the enraged, I don't know what word I'm looking for, the more angry it makes you because you're in pain. Think about stubbing your toe. And you go, oh man, fuck. Okay, times a quadrillion is the pain threshold that makes us really go ballistic. So if you already have somebody whose tendency is to assault people and you make them more angry, where does that put you? In the hospital or the morgue?
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So if you're going to fight, if you have the will to fight, which most people do,
Mm-hmm.
you have to know how. You have to know how to direct that will. And, I just talked to a woman who joined my dojo who has a granddaughter who wanted to learn self-defense. So she went to one of these schools that is all about ground fighting and MMA. And, it's all about competition and contest. If somebody pins me down, it's assault. And there's a different response if I'm dealing with an assault rather than a competition and a contest, right? So in my school, there's no tournaments, there's no display of our skills outside of the school. And our hope is we never, ever have to use this against anybody, right? So my hope as being a long-term studier and doer of this is that there's something that maybe turns the predator off when he sees me. They have a way of picking who they're going to pick. I want his response to me being, let that one go by. Right there, my self-defense worked. And I think that is really knowing how to do, what to do, where to do, why to do. And doing it, here's part of what happens is victims wait for too much information because the reality of what's happening is so difficult. Right? The reality of what's happening is so astounding and difficult that you kind of go, what the Friday,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
what's going on? And you wait too long. And the longer you wait to do anything, the predator is gaining control and power over the situation. So here, the first course you take is to stay on your feet and try to win in 10 seconds or less.
Yeah.
And get out of there.
Yeah.
Whereas in the martial arts, we do so many other things. Self-defense is just a fifth of what we do.
Yeah.
So we get really good at that because we remind our muscle memory skill set over and over how to respond effectively and efficiently and immediately. The other thing about really good self-defense education is you learn the difference between mild, medium, and hot, or creepy, stupid, dangerous. And as more life experienced people, we understand that if somebody can convince you to do stupid, dangerous is right there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So helping people recognize how especially a personal narcissistic kind of predator works and how dangerous they can be. And it's this whole enlightenment about flags. I go through a whole talk, and it's very simple to recognize the flag once you know how to recognize it. But a lot of people, as they're listening to my talk, will say things like, oh my God, that's that guy. Or, oh, that happened to me with a woman who was teaching me something, or, oh, this was a babysitter. All of a sudden the sparks start to go off, and we realize how many times we have encountered people that want to do us harm.
Yeah.
And whether it's physical, mental, emotional, psychological, financial, all those things need to be guarded, as part of you, because this is self-defense, not anybody else. And I'm not waiting for somebody else to rescue me. I think that is the part that helps people leave here differently, because they've put something into their body, their mind, their soul, their heart that is all congruent. I have a response if you're a creep. I have a response if you want me to be stupid or you're being stupid around me. And helping teenagers understand stupid, light bulbs start going off. They're like, oh my gosh, yeah, that was stupid, and that was stupid, and that was stupid.
Of course,
yeah. But it takes somebody besides a mom or a dad lecturing them to say, this is reality, man. What your parents are telling you is so true. You might finally hear it from me, but we're all giving you the same message.
Wow.
Right? Pay attention. And, too many people are talked into doing things that they really don't want to do, or talked out of doing things that they should be doing.
Oh.
So one of the things I hope teenagers hear, or anybody hears, the worst things that ever happened to me happened because I wasn't where I should have been.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you get talked out of going to English class and you end up someplace you shouldn't have been. And you get in more trouble. It's not just about ditching a class, right? So helping them make healthy, smart, self-interested decisions. So it's less likely they find themselves alone with a groomer.
Mm-hmm.
Or being talked into doing something that they really aren't either proud of or they can't tell their parents. That's huge. Somebody tries to talk you guys into doing something and they don't want you to tell anybody. They don't want you to talk about it. Big flag.
Yeah.
Huge flag.
Absolutely.
Don't do it. Don't do it. And the peer pressure, the social media, all the crap that our kids have to deal with these days. How old, this stuff begins in the single digits. I go to restaurants and there are kids with screens in front of them. They're not learning how to be in a restaurant. They're learning how to be distracted from being in a restaurant. I don't know. I'm glad when I was raising my children, I had none of these distractions. It's difficult, very difficult. So finding some place that really agrees with your heart, people come in here and they go, oh my gosh, this is like where I want to be. That's so important when you're doing a long-term study of anything. Why do we do things over and over again?
Yeah.
We do laundry over and over again. We cook dinner over and over again. Is there a way to bring some kind of enlightenment to that? Doing something here over and over again.
Yep.
It's all about self-improvement.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody walks in for them, not for me,
True.
not for anybody else.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And finding that kind of go-to, whether it's, pickleball or CrossFit or martial arts, as long as it's something that draws you to some kind of self-betterment. Here we have an added value that if, I have a situation, I'm more likely to respond because I know how to respond. I had a recent situation with a student in a grocery parking lot, and she's loading her groceries into the back of her car. And somebody walked up to her with like a paper bag and wanted her to sniff. Can you tell me what this smells like?
Oh.
Yeah. And she was like, get away from me. What are you doing? And he was just like, whoa, lady,
Yeah.
I just wanted your help. And when she got in her car, all kind of shaken up, she said, oh my God, if I had smelled that and something happened to me, Sensei would be so mad at me.
Oh my gosh.
But it could be something that innocent. Hey, can you look at this? Can you smell this? Could you come over here and look at this? You have to do everything with unfortunate vigilance rather than good Samaritanness, right?
Yeah, it's true.
One of the first things you learn in any kind of first aid course is don't put yourself in danger, right? Don't volunteer to go into a scene that you don't know how to deal with, because now they have two people to rescue, right? So I have to keep myself very vigilant about what goes on around. I mean, we had that attack on our Boulder Mall last summer where some guy was throwing Molotov cocktails at some Jewish people wanting the prisoners released, the hostages released. And all of a sudden we have this horrendous on the mall in Boulder, somebody shooting up a grocery store. It's no place is a garden of safety.
Yeah.
You have to be, and it's so unfortunate, but you know what? The world's always been like this. It's just the bad guys are here no matter where, no matter what. And, choose who comes into your life and choose wisely.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions for me, Jill?
Yeah, I mean, no, there's time and time again. Everyone's different, but usually stuff like this happens when you least expect it, right? Let's be honest, right?
Right?
We're rushing around, running to the
Yep.
store. We have kids. We have this. Everyone's always in a hustle bustle, and it's as much as you talk about it before you get in the car. Let's be careful. It could just happen in an instant like that. And let me just ask you, for
That's
people
right.
like me, a mom with children, we mentioned before, pepper spray or whatever. What are some of the things that, as a mom, a single mother, should have on me at all times? Is there something I should have on my keychain? Is there something? I mean, what would is there any type of thing out there that I can keep on me, clipped to my pants? I have a carabiner. I use a carabiner for my keys because I always lose them. So my keys constantly are, if they're not clipped to my pocketbook, they're clipped to my jeans. But is there something that I could be carrying that could help me in a situation where I'm attacked, or any woman out there in a sense?
I am a great believer in added security, but my first security, and especially answering your question, would be have you. You are, no matter where you are, you're there. So if I'm trying to find something or use something instead of doing something, you're distracted for those few seconds where you're unclipping or you're trying to find something. A ballpoint pen could go anywhere I wanted to put it.
Perfect.
Okay.
That's
And
something. Yep.
the other thing is your voice. Learn how to yell. One of the most difficult things, but most emancipating skills a woman learns is how to use her voice and use it in a volume. People tell me I can't use my voice completely in the dojo because it hurts their ears. And that's the kind of voice I want, the kind of yelling words and demands that proves I'm in command. Not screaming, yelling with force from your belly. Don't touch me, leave me alone, get away from me. I mean, just barraging them with demands. And what that also does is it alerts people in the environment. Well, I know those words, somebody, and have something with your kids that if you're ever in a sketchy situation, you have a word you yell and your kids know to do whatever that word means. Get into the car, lock the doors, call 911, get out of the house, get in the house, get to the neighbor's house, whatever. And as soon as you use that word, change it.
Yeah.
So that your kids know that if you yell that word, something
Okay.
not okay is happening. So if you're loading up groceries and you feel somebody has seen you've seen them too many times, you feel that in your guts, you say a word, your kids get in the car, and everybody just in the car. I don't care about the groceries. Everybody in the car and the doors are locked.
Wow.
So you're right. We are so distracted. And my brother lives in Santa Monica, and he said the latest kind of crime there is guys looking at these high-end cars, these women dressed nicely, jewelry, and they follow them home.
Yeah.
Follow them into the garage, close the garage door, and nobody knows they're in there.
Wow.
So again, as soon as you get home, close it up. Or if you're getting groceries out, make sure you're looking behind you all the time. And I'm not paranoid. I don't want to create this, oh my God, everything is scary. I just want people to be aware that you should be the surprise, not somebody else's plan.
Thank
because the predator is counting on a surprise. And the more I understand how that surprise feels, like I can't teach you how to get out of a chokehold unless I put you in one.
Yeah. All right.
So you have a visceral feeling of what chokeholds feel like. So it's not, oh my God, this is unknown. And this is, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? It's like, I'm familiar with this and I know how to deal with this instantly.
Wow.
That's what the training does.
Yeah.
Is it gives you a response and a result that is already in your makeup. It's not something you've had to make up on the spot. You already know a solution. It's like an EMT showing up at an accident. You want that person to know what to do. And he doesn't have to do much to survive this life, get him into somebody who can do a better job. All they need to do is immediate attention. That's what self-defense is. Immediate attention. It's like I'm my own 911 responder.
Yeah.
Because I know how to respond.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you for that. All right, we still got 4 more minutes left in the show. I just want to make sure we're covering everything for today because let's talk just about your services and how you're helping people here. Again, Way of the Crane. You're in Boulder. Do you do virtual work as well?
I haven't tried that because, like I said,
it's a lot of hands-on. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I can talk to you, but I can't really help you experience what it is you need to experience. I can't put you in a bear hug and almost pop the wind out of you if you've never experienced that before. That's going to pop the wind out of you and you're not going to have the ability to respond. So much of this is visceral. It's something that we need to experience, not just talk about. And everybody who comes in here chooses their own skill set.
Yeah.
And that's what they become good at. I make sure that whatever it is they've chosen to do, they do it correctly so that they don't get hurt in the fight. If you've never punched something and you think punching is what you've seen on TV, you're going to break your hand.
Yeah. For sure. All right.
You know, it's something you have to be able to have the correct technique and the correct, what we call bone alignment, the physical integrity of the structure of the fight, to be able to not get beaten up while you're trying to defend yourself.
Yeah.
You know, you getting seriously hurt because you punched somebody wrong or kicked somebody wrong. Yeah, you go to the hospital,
Yeah.
you know? So learn, if you want, if this is something that interests you, come to Boulder. I mean, I'm the best.
Of course you are. Amazing. Amazing.
I
Well,
am amazing.
oh,
Yes.
thank you. And
What I teach is amazing, not me. It's the
yeah,
information I am able to impart to people that helps them shift their life and their thinking. You know, I don't change anybody. I give them information to change themselves.
yeah. All right. Well, thank you
And
so
it's very
much. And I want to
empowering.
know
Yeah.
how we can empower other people, how we can get in touch with you. Please share.
Wayofthecrane.com, 303-442-7559.
Perfect.
Ask for me. I'll answer the phone. I do
Aw.
answer my phone.
Oh, I love you. You're so sweet. Thank you so much for being here, for
Well, come and
joining us.
train with
As
me. Come
I,
spend some time with me.
I would love to. I've never been to Colorado,
Well,
period, let alone Boulder,
hey,
let alone, and thank you. I have your
yeah,
information. If I ever get out there one day, I would love to. Thank you so much. I
yep.
appreciate that.
You're welcome.
All right,
Thank
sweetie,
you.
thank you. You have a fantastic day. And to all of our
You
listeners and
also.
viewers, stay tuned. We'll be right back with more. Bye.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.